Again, all of this watery fluidity, bringing together of disparate things, the way that water connects, let's bring that to how we think about aspects. And what this transit might offer you. And so here's where we are. So this will be, again, this will be in your slides, but this is a representation of the main places Saturn's transit in Pisces is going to be aspecting all around the zodiac. So while some of us may feel it a bit more intensely, right? It's active, regardless of whether you have planets in those houses, it's going to be activating those degrees. And so there's stuff to be worked with, right? There's stuff to be worked with. And a reminder that a Saturn transit in any form marks a time for change. But let's think about aspects first. So I'm just going to run through the aspects, but not from a place of like math, but more in esoteric math. So this is a conjunction. And then we're going to do a little embodied exercise and we'll close our time today. So a conjunction is associated with the monad. So it's both a 0 and a 1, right? And so this was one of the phrases that I found in a text called the quadrivium. And about the monad, before there was day and night, left and right, up and down, right and wrong, everything existed in an undifferentiated state of unity. That is the sort of essence of a conjunction. Or another phrase I found in the quadrivium, a conjunction is the pregnant ground of all being. So for anyone who is experiencing this Saturn transit as a Saturn return, anyone that's got those, a planet in those degrees. So 12 to 19 degrees of Pisces, if you have a planet there, you will at some point in this process experience Saturn conjuncting one of those planets. Okay. So I'm just setting y'all up for this. So let's not linger too. We're going to go around though. So the next place is known as a semi-sextile. This is the glyph. And it's associated with the number 12 because that's the division, right? The division of the zodiacs, 12. And so semi-sextile is that first 30 degrees outside of the conjunction. These are known as intimate aspects. Intimate. I would find that interesting. I'm still thinking about that. They are some of the most intimate aspects. It's a representation of the initial emergence of self-awareness. There's all this stuff on the internet now, like sort of these videos of sort of babies gaining like that moment when a baby gains consciousness of itself. Conscious babies. Some people are, showing also like conscious animals. But that's semi-sextile, angular value of 30 degrees, preparing for a sextile. But again, the essence it represents is that initial emergence of self-awareness. So it's a seed form, right? And again, I'm still thinking about what it means that it is considered an intimate aspect. More to be learned. Then we move into a sextile associated with the number 6. And sextiles, 6 in Pythagorean kind of, again, the esoteric math is a perfect number. It's considered to be triangular and oblong. And it is a number of process, right? It's this on the way, it's on the way. So there's an inherent movement that's available inside of a sextile, which is, we think about like sextiles and trines, which we'll get to later, are considered these more fluid, like take advantage, or, you can like move something along, if a sextile is afoot, or you can find it, and I also wanted to say it's interesting that its shape, which is the hexagon, mimics things like snowflakes or the shape of a honeycomb, right? And the key words are things like development, harmony, productivity. So that it would mimic, kind of a hive and the harmony necessary. Okay. And we have a square. So we've gone conjunction, semi-sextile, sextile, square. Squares get bad rep, but they're emergence of order. Like there's a system to manifest. It's like when you have an idea, right? But now you've got the blueprint for how it's going to happen, right? It's not fully formed yet, but you've got the plan. You know what I mean? You've got the vision, and something's getting more concrete. The root of all manifested things, right? We've got the pregnant ground of being, and now something's taking root, right? So it's not flowered yet. It may still be underground, in fact, but the root structure is there. And so all it needs is time. But there also represents a lot of energy wrangling. And I think that's where, squares get known as sort of being hard aspects. It's because it is a kind of, a shaping, I don't want to say containing, but an active invitation to shape life force into something, right? But that, for everyone here who is an artist, which we all are because we're alive and trying to live in this world, right? The process of creation is not for the faint of heart. Whatever your artistry is, parenting, being a partner, being a community, the process of actively creating community or any other thing in your life is not for the faint of heart. So that is, the square. And now we're moving to a trine. And I loved this because I'd never thought about this as a trine, because trines, again, they're easy, they flow. A trine 3, the triad, it's the force of the flow. So it's this intangible current, right? That the 2 are now 3, the invisible third that's created via relationship. Right? And sometimes that might look like a baby. Sometimes that looks like a friendship. Sometimes that looks like, embodied astrology, right? As a third that's been created out of all these relationships, right? It can now do things in the world, right? The thing to remember about a trine is that sometimes we can underappreciate them because of that quote unquote ease. And so we don't actively develop them so they can't be as triney as they could be. That makes sense. Everything can be developed, right? Everything can grow in more robust ways. And then we come to a quincunx, the weird name one, Q-U-I-N-C-U-N-X. Again, it is associated with this number 12, like the semi-sextile, because it's now right before the opposition. So it too is considered an intimate aspect. I'm just so curious about this personally. And it is sharpened focus, like not fully in view, but things, you know, it's sort of the process of adjusting a lens to get so precise, right? And so for this is anything 12 to 19 degrees of Libra or Leo. You're going to experience this. And then we have our friend, the opposition, maximum separation, a line, right? A line, maximum separation, but also maximum manifestation. You know, this, it's a full moon is an opposition, right? Oppositions mean that, you know, the two bodies are most visible to each other, and so can actually communicate, right? Can communicate readily if they're worked with. You know, sometimes, you know, people might consider this, you know, this is considered one of the hardest kind of aspects, afflicted, you know, heard that language. But, you know, Michael Meyer, which again, from the Handbook of Humanistic, the Handbook for the Humanistic Astrologer, it's like that concept comes out of this westernized cultural idea that the other, because the opposition is a representation of otherness, right? So this idea of opposing is bad, right? And it's like, well, oppositions actually offer opportunities for quantum leaps in your personal development, you know, to whatever degree. A quantum leap can be big or small, but because it's the root of consciousness, because we learn about ourselves via the mirror, right, of another person. Anyone that is in a relationship has a, you know, can tell you, you will learn the most about yourself by trying to be in relationship with another person, another animal, right, that has its own feelings, ideas, uniqueness, its own, you know. And so, you know, it's coming to terms with that otherness. And sometimes it also means encountering the other within. Oh, whoa, yeah. Encountering the other within and understanding that, oh, I too am this. I too have this to learn, right? You know, let's not forget that one of the things that we can get pulled into in a Saturn transit is a lot of scapegoating and projecting of our Saturn, of that mirror that Saturn is holding up to us. We can start projecting it and seeing it everywhere when it's coming, you know, the call is coming from inside the house, you know. And I say this as someone who, this is what the Saturn transit is for me, because this is for anyone who is 12 to 19 degrees of Virgo. And that's where my sun, my ascendant, my Mars, and my Mercury are. So I'm knee deep in encountering others of all kinds and a lot of internal otherness and ways that I have othered myself and healing. So this is an opportunity for me to heal that, right?